I am Emefa Apawu, and this is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM in over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. We are on Kekeli Radio in Ho, and Menuveve FM in Aflao, Radio Wa in Wa, ATL FM in Cape Coast, and Pad FM in Delmongo. You can also go digital on Spotify, live on Facebook, and myjoyonline.com app. This afternoon, Special Prosecutor freezes assets of late Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu-Efriye, aka Sir John. Will tell you why. Meanwhile, the Office of the Special Prosecutor is cash-strapped and struggling to recruit 9 months after Kissie Jabin was sworn into office. We'll tell you how the absence of a board is also frustrating the work of the OSP.
I want to assure Mr. Kissie Jabin, like I did his predecessor, that not only will the executive, including the Attorney General, respect scrupulously the independence of his office, but also will provide him with whatever assistance is required.
We'll hear from some civil society groups. Also this afternoon, heavy security presence at Wa Police Station as investigators begin screening of 25 persons arrested for blocking roads, burning tires and demanding release of suspects arrested in connection with the flogging of a woman and her lover.
And a group of young men just marched up front of the Wa Police Station. We were able to quell it. We were able to arrest 16 males and 2 females.
Meanwhile, the regional minister is holding a crunch meeting with traditional authorities to find a lasting solution. Global rights agency Amnesty International is also calling for the police to conduct thorough investigations and make more arrests.
Everybody that witnessed this particular flogging must be arrested. If possible, they should sign a bond.
Later today, fuel prices are expected to inch up again, and this time petrol is expected to cross 10 Ghana cedis with a projected 7% increment in global prices.
Nothing has really changed. The same dynamics at play. We've indicated variously that we need a coherent national strategy of containment.
And in sports,
Black Stars coach Otto Addo justifies reason for excluding the 2 home-based players in the matchday squad against Madagascar last night. Details in 20 minutes.
And later, national executive hopefuls of the governing NPP crisscross the country ahead of the National Delegates Congress next month.
Whoever becomes our flag bearer, we will negotiate for 40% of all appointments.
Yes, I'm confident, but not complacent.
Thank you. So clearly, everybody's saying time as soon. It is time for team.
That and more in this edition of the Midday News. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Please stay for details. And we start off this afternoon from the Office of the Special Prosecutor because he's frozen the assets of late Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu-Efriye, aka Sir John. Mr. Efriye's will went viral on social media a couple of weeks ago amid concerns he had gifted lands at the Achimota Forest Reserve and a host of other houses and properties across the country to his family members. The Lands Ministry has since commenced a probe into the said lands and declared any such acquisition and transfer as invalid. The Special Prosecutor also indicated commencing investigations into the matter. Well, the latest is that assets of the former Chief Executive have been frozen. Elton Brobe joins me in studio with details. What do we know so far?
So, Emefa, the Office of the Special Prosecutor last week commenced investigations into the suspected case of corruption against Sir John with regards to his alleged improper acquisition of state lands within the Achimota Forest and the Sakomoto Ramsar site. Now, what we are picking this afternoon is that the assets as contained in the will and final testament of Sir John has been frozen. The Special Prosecutor is currently working to freeze some other assets belonging to the late Sir John, stashed out of the country.
Okay, well, at least we've been outlining some of the assets that we know so far. You have some that you will take us through.
So what we have is a house with the plot number GA55480 at East Legon, Oblojo. Also another house at East Legon. This was acquired on September 27, 2017. Another one at Oyarefa house on plot number GA5881 at Ajiringano here in Accra, a 6-bedroom house located at Pantine, Pantagbe, Obolojo, near East Legon, a 4-bedroom house located in Mempasem at East Legon, a 3-bedroom house on plot number, the plot number is provided here, also located at Mempasem at East Legon, another 3-bedroom house on plot number TDA 4140 located at Mempasem at East Legon again, a 4-bedroom house on plot number, the number is provided, also in East Legon, acquired in 2018, a 5-bedroom house located at Sakura Ono in his hometown. There's also a filling station, that's a gas station, a hospital, plus some vehicles, with all properties put together. We're looking at over 40.
Okay. Well, and we know that he had lands also at the Achimota Forest Reserve and the Ramsar site at Sakumono. But Elton, stay with me because we will stay a while longer at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And it's been 9 months since Kisie Jabing was sworn into office as Special Prosecutor. But as of today, the office has no governing board. Section 5 and 6 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017, Act 959, tasks the board to formulate policies for the object of the office, ensure proper and effective performance of the functions of the office, advise a special prosecutor on the recruitment and selection of various staff, among others. Now, this was President Akufo-Addo's statement when he appointed the special prosecutor 9 months ago.
I want to assure Mr. Kisie Jabing, like I did his predecessor, that not only will the executive, including the Attorney General, respect scrupulously the independence of his office, but also will provide him with whatever assistance is required to enable him discharge his high duties effectively in the interests of the Ghanaian people. Indeed, all institutions of state will work and cooperate with him in the same spirit which he articulated at his approval proceedings in Parliament. Government will continue to give stronger budgetary assistance to the other constitutionally mandated institutions that hold government accountable and help fight corruption.
So that was a promise back then, 9 months ago. But Joy is learning today that the absence of the board is frustrating the special prosecutor to recruit and ratify the contract of some contract workers. Elton is still with me in the studio. So Elton, first tell us about the composition of the board.
So the law establishing the Office of the Special Prosecutor the board consists of the Special Prosecutor, the Deputy Special Prosecutor, one representative, each from the Audit Service, the Ghana Police Service, IOCO, Financial Intelligence Center, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Raj, a person nominated by the Minister for National Security, one other person who is a female representing anti-corruption civil society organizations. The members of the board, once appropriately nominated by the institution heads, will then elect a person other than the special prosecutor or the deputy from among themselves as chairperson of the board. Now, when this is done, the next step will be for the president to swear in them to start their work.
Okay, but do we know if the institutions identified have made nominations for consideration so far?
Indeed, our checks with the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the Attorney General's Department confirmed that indeed all the institutions mentioned, they've nominated people. What is outstanding is the swearing in of them to serve as board of the Special Prosecutor.
Do we know why it's taking this long for the swearing in to happen?
It is so unclear. Indeed, my checks with the Attorney General's office indicates that they wrote to the Office of the Chief of Staff 4 months ago, and as we speak, no response has been provided regarding this letter to allow the president to swear them in.
Obviously, this is affecting the work of the OSP. Do we know how?
Well, Emefa, so first, what we are picking up is that, among other things, the board is to advise the special prosecutor on recruitment and selection of secretary and other senior staff. Also, they advise on policy matters, develop and monitor code of conduct. But the most important thing, which has become an obstacle in terms of how the special prosecutor wants to work, is the recruitment and the ratification of people who have been contracted by the special prosecutor to work. In the absence of the board that can give clear direction as to how monies can be spent and to how these people can be recruited, virtually there's nobody who has been recruited. Those who have been recruited working on contract basis, their contract are yet to be ratified because of the absence of the board.
So that's not the main challenge of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We know that cash issues are also big or high on the number of challenges that he has. Tell us about it.
Indeed, our checks suggest that before the presentation of the 2022 budget, the finance minister wrote to all institutions to submit their budget for the 2022 fiscal year. And I'm told that the special prosecutor presented a budget amounting to almost 1 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the budget, the finance minister, in his own wisdom, decided to give the special prosecutor 170 million Ghana cedis for the 2022 fiscal year. That's about just 70% of how much they requested for before the budget was presented. Now, my information is that we are 6 months into the year 2022. Only 10 million Ghana cedis has been released to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to enable them undertake their mandate.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Elton taking us through the challenges at the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But let me bring in Director of Advocacy and Policy Management at the Center for Democratic Development Ghana, Dr. Kojo Pumpunia Sante. We are grateful for your time here on the Midday News. We'll talk about the challenges that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is faced with. But moments ago, we are told that the office has frozen the assets of the former Chief Executive of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu-Afriyie. Last week, we were told that investigations had begun from the office. Your initial reaction to that?
Yeah, thank you, and good afternoon to all your listeners. Yes, I think that's in order because it helps the office to then take its time to investigate the properties and other things that are being acquired. You have to remember also that the estate also has properties that are owned by companies. We don't know who are beneficiaries of these companies and so on. So there's a lot to sort out, and I think this is the right step.
But whilst he takes on such huge tasks of investigations and freezing of assets, it appears the office itself is faced with a lot of challenges. No board, cash is also an issue. Looks like the issues that characterize the Martin Amidu regime are just repeating themselves.
I am puzzled by the whole issue of the board because we submitted the nominee for the anti-corruption organizations in March. So I don't know what has, and I know that all the agencies has also submitted their nomination. So I don't understand why it's taking. Just the inauguration is becoming a problem these days. I'm sure you don't even have to be physically at the Jubilee House to get inaugurated. You probably can even get inaugurated online. So it's hampering. It would definitely be a big, problem for the OSP because the way the governance architecture is designed, for him to get in senior officers, directors, and so on, he needs the advice of the board. And without that, they cannot legitimately sort of work. So it's a real difficulty, remembering that he's having to do a complete building process because when Mr. Martin Adu left, even the office that was eventually secured, there's a lot that has to be done to make it fit for its purpose. So I really, it's a puzzle to me why this has dragged on. I'll really urge and appeal to government to really just, within a few days, just get this inauguration done so that he can get on with his work.
Well, some will say these are the very basics for the office to function. But after all these years, months, the issue about whether we are really serious about the fight against corruption comes up. Are we really serious about it?
Well, I think that's the question, and it's the right question to ask. Because, we cannot keep making these statements that the OSP is one of our key interventions for fighting corruption, and yet our actions don't speak loud enough that we want to make that institution work. So I really think that this is not good, even in terms of the resources. Yes, I know that the situation is very difficult for the finance ministry and everyone, but the OSP's mandate and, from a preventive point of view, even in recovering assets of proceeds of crime, I think it's an investment that the government has to make so that even if money is tight, the OSP has to be prioritized in the way in which monies are released. It's not particularly because he has to do a lot of heavy lifting at the beginning because the office is now being set up. he needs his resources very early. If he's released in this way, he cannot really operate.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Dr. Kojo Pumpuni Asante, is Director of Advocacy and Policy Management at the CDD. And it's staying a while longer on issues of corruption because Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative and former board chairperson of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Lendo Forikwafu, is asking the President to immediately dismiss public officers who have not declared their assets. According to her, this will give more weight to the President's commitment to fighting corruption in the country.
As much as I know that the sanction for not declaring your assets is not you losing your job, I think the President can send a signal to we, the ordinary citizens, that is very much committed and still is to the fight against corruption. Because after declarations, one of the means we are able to catch people who take wealth that is not theirs and hide and then enjoy when they leave office.
Linda Forikwa for their speaking on the Super Morning Show. We'll take a quick flight to the Upper West region now. And this afternoon, there's heavy security presence at the police station in Wa as investigators begin screening of 25 persons arrested for blocking roads, burning tires and vandalizing public property. They were part of a large crowd that stormed the police station last night to demand the release of persons arrested in connection with the flogging of a woman and her lover. The flogging incident has received widespread condemnation, with the police swiftly arresting 3 persons who will be shortly put before the court. The youth in the area are, however, unhappy and left the police with no choice but to deploy many men to contain the chaotic situation. Upper West Region Police Crime Officer ASP Reynold Mantia has been speaking to us.
And a group of young men just marched up in front of the Wa police station in charge of it, demanding for the release of 3 suspects who had been arrested and were in custody. They also went ahead on some of the main streets of the road in town with ties and other locks. And they set these ties on the asphalt. The regional commander quickly, on hearing this, stepped in, organized, and we were able to quell it. After the end of, quelling and the rioters, so thousands burning ties, we were able to arrest 16 bills.
That's the Regional Police Crime Officer, ACP Reynold Mantia. Well, the Ghana Police Service has issued a statement on the matter, and we'll get details of that shortly. But let me bring in Rafiq Salam on it. But before then, Blay, you have a copy of the police statement. What does it say?
So the statement confirms the arrest of 25 people in Wa for attempting to forcefully secure the release of 3 suspects who were in police custody for flogging the victims in the Wa viral video. The irate mob are said to have pelted the charge office and adjoining offices with stones and other implements. The police says it finds the mob action, which was calculated to derail the cause of justice for the victims who were flogged in the viral video, unacceptable, and condemn it in no uncertain terms. All the suspects that shows who will be arrested in the course of investigations will be put before the courts to face justice.
Joseph Akable with a copy of that police statement. Rafiq Salam has been following this story for us. He joins us on the line. Rafiq, what's the latest? We know that the police has been preparing to press charges against the suspects they picked up yesterday. What do we know?
For now, the 25 are still in the custody of the police. The police are screening and then preparing them to take them to the Wa District Court. But let me also report to you that calm has returned to the Wa municipality following last night's incident. And so for now, things are moving on swiftly. There's no road blockade. Nothing is happening at the police station for now, which is untoward. But there was a meeting that was held by the Regional Security Council of Brexit, led by the Apawu Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, and afterwards they moved straight to the One House Palace, where they met the overlord of the Wala, Professor Eden Nafsin, the people and his subjects, and then after that they came back. The media was not privy to that meeting. We are yet to be briefed by the Brexit, but we are told that in the next few hours the suspects will be taken to the court.
Okay, that's my colleague Rafiq Salam there. Meanwhile, rights agency Amnesty International is meanwhile calling on the police to thoroughly investigate the matter and make more arrests. Samuel Agbuche is a coordinator.
We're just thankful to God that it didn't go beyond just the beating, but the psychological trauma they have suffered will probably live for them forever. And so everybody that witnessed this particular flogging must be arrested. If possible, they should sign a bond
Samuel Agboche there is coordinator at Amnesty International. Well, Parliament has been speaking about the issue as well. Vice Chairman on the Defence and Interior Committee, Ophelia Mensah, has condemned the flogging of the two lovers. She's asking the irate youth also to refrain from violence.
In fact, I condemn it. I saw it 3 days ago on Joy News. And I don't know, but I was told the chief was not even in the palace. So I know the police will conduct an in-depth investigations into that. We trust our security services to do that. And then we'll come out with those who are, who the perpetrators who are to be blamed or those who are to be condemned. In fact, it's not pleasant.
Well, that's Ophelia Mensah there. We'll stay a while longer on related issues because we know that two members of Parliament, Emmanuel Kodwo-Ejekum and James Agauga, have filed a motion in Parliament requesting a bipartisan probe into the death of a young man who was in police custody. Albert Donko's death sparked protests at Nkranza, where he resides, with relatives alleging he was killed by the police. The police say he was a suspected armed robber who died during a police operation. The legislators believe such a probe would put matters to rest. Thankfully, one of the MPs, Mr. James Agauga, joins us on the line. We are grateful. So is it your contention that the narrative put out by the police does not put the matter to rest?
Absolutely. And you would notice that the motion in question has been co-sponsored by MP for Nkranza and, of course, my good self. The reason why we have co-sponsored the motion is that we don't agree with the narrative of the police. Because we've done extensive work, we've spoken to relatives of the deceased, and the narrative of the relatives is completely at variance with what the police put out there. And so in order to put matters beyond doubt and to ensure that public trust and confidence in the police is not damaged beyond the level where public confidence would diminish. In the police, we believe it is important that the matter is thoroughly investigated. But you would recall that this is not the first time. A similar incident happened when two police officers who were also in police custody were told died in the course of the execution of some operation to arrest some other suspects. That matter is outstanding. There is a pending motion. We believe that if this particular motion is, approved by the Speaker, we would consolidate the two and deal with them holistically.
Okay. Is it the understanding that you want Parliament to set up a special committee for this particular incident? Like you're saying, you want to consolidate the two. Give us an understanding, really, of how you want this committee to be put together.
Yes. We intend that Parliament would compose a bipartisan committee, and membership, of course, would be drawn from both sides of the political divide in Parliament. And when that is done, we would further move the House to bring up the pending motion in respect of the two police officers and consolidate same with the motion that has to do with the Nkranza shooting incident.
We're grateful for your time. That's James Agauga. There is a deputy ranking on the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament. We're still on violence-related issues, and the National Commission for Civic Education, NCC, is rejecting actions that have the potential of leading to the violent overthrow of a legitimately elected government. According to the NCCE, the Constitution provides citizens the right to speak out and demonstrate when governments are not working as expected and not resort to violence. Acting Chairperson of the NCCE, Kathleen Addy, made these comments in an interview with Joy News.
Our role as NCCE is to safeguard the Constitution of Ghana, and we take that role very, very seriously. And we reject all calls for coup, all calls for chaos, and all calls for violent overthrow of a legitimately elected government. As a people, we have a right to speak up if there's something going wrong, if you identify something wrong with governance. You have a right to speak up. You have a right to demonstrate, to voice your opinion.
We'll take a quick break here on the Midday News. Our top story so far: Special Prosecutor freezes assets of late Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu-Efriye, a.k.a. Sir John. Meanwhile, the office is cash-strapped and struggling to recruit 9 months after Kissie Jabing was sworn into office. When we return, we have sports, and then later, fuel prices are expected to inch up again. And this time, petrol is expected to cross 10 Ghana cedis mark with a projected 7% increment in global prices.
Nothing has really changed. The same dynamics at play. We've indicated variously that we need a coherent national strategy of containment.
Yama Wakwaba, ba Akwaba Magic Busia, brand new channel, Tia Roba, Emuno Tiao, Ewo DSTV channel 149, and Go TV channel 108. Enianom Akwaba Magic Busia, Eddie Nidia Ghanaian programs mu Baufi, Ebit said the day, to have and to hold, and Yom Senior Cassia, series and talk show, Bemoaka TV sets Nichi, Akwaba Magic Busia, Ewo DSTV access to your 50 Ghana cedis per and Go TV value to your 25 Ghana cedis per Ebusia Akwaba.
Hey, Efo, what brings you to my house this early morning? I hope all is well.
All is never well with me or my brother. After paying 3 times for the land for my project, the construction workers are giving me wahala. From material overestimation to small steering and excuses from artisans. Charlie, I'm tired though. Works that can be done in 2 weeks are done over 2 months. I have to pay them whether the work is good or not.
I told you so, Efo.
It's all because you're trying to become builders when you're corporate workers and business people. Edlom has products tailored to meet your needs. Villas 3 at Amrahia, where there are finished homes with very flexible payment terms. For more information, please visit edlomhousing.com. Send an email to sales@edlomhousing.com or simply call 0270-166-166. Edlom Housing, where spacious and quality homes cost less.
This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. All the stories you've heard so far or missed are live right now on myjoyonline.com. Let's do sports.
Yes, Emefa, last night was joyous for Ghanaians as the Black Stars saw off Madagascar with an emphatic 3-0 win in the 2023 AFCON qualifiers. Now, the two home-based players in the people of Daniel Friye Banye and Bechem United's August Nokra were not part of the matchday squad. Otoado says the selection was merited.
It's always good, and we had a lot of chances in the first half, but also I think for me it's not about local or not local. I don't care. Wherever, if you're from Tamale or if you're from Cape Coast, it's about performance and quality, and this is the way I decide. So when I see a player, especially in the training, but also when I watch video clips or visit matches, this is what I look at.
Coach Otuado, that's your spot.
And later today, if you're getting ready to buy fuel, you're expected to at least add 60 pesos to purchase a liter of fuel, as fuel prices are projected to go up by 7%. This means petrol will now be sold for more than 10 cedis per liter. As of now, it is selling at 9.85 cedis. The price of diesel and LPG are expected to remain unchanged, even though the commodity has seen a 5.49 and 4.13% drop, respectively, on the international market. Energy analyst Duncan Amwa says the further depreciation in the city and current oil regulation regime is to blame for the increment.
Nothing has really changed. The same dynamics at play. We've indicated variously that we need a coherent national strategy of containment. You cannot continue to ground your refinery.
Duncan Amwa there. Time for the election headquarters. And this afternoon, unity and the ability to help the governing New Patriotic Party break the eight appears to be the main political message of all aspirants for national executive positions. The party will go to Congress next month to select officers in the last but one internal contest ahead of the 2024 elections. My colleague on the political desk, Elton Brobe, has been looking at some of the aspirants bidding to lead the party.
It is a battle for the Stevens for the national chairmanship slot. 4-time serial loser Stephen Ntim is aiming to be 5th-time lucky, but faces competition from new entrant Stephen Asamoah-Boateng. The former Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, tells Joy News' chairmanship will empower the party faithfuls to play active roles in government.
Whoever becomes our flag bearer, we would negotiate for 40% of all appointments to be given to the party starting at the constituency level. We know the 60%, he normally will give it to people at the national or region. But the 40%, it is coming to the party. We have people at the constituency who can also be ministers or deputies, CEOs.
17 is, however, hopeful the delegates will reward him for his sacrifice to the party.
Thank you. So clearly, everybody's saying time has soon. It is time for him to ascend the chairmanship seat.
And it's time for Tech Thursday.
And then after I finish using that app, I just freeze it again. And if I do that, it helps the battery and also my data.
But how do these apps help in keeping the phone going when the battery is draining? And could there be hidden dangers with these apps? Professor Kester Kwistafechi, the Ghana Communication Technology University, has the answers.
In case you are running maybe a WhatsApp app, those applications can stop the WhatsApp app from running at the background, which means they have a higher privilege to Android operating system. So they help in stopping those programs that are running in the background so that they can save battery. That is how they practically work. So we have a lot of people that take advantage of developing those applications and use it to have access to different levels of the application and also of the Android operating system and use it to do so many things. For example, we have certain applications that somebody can use your phone number to perform a mobile.
No more low battery there. Love FM's Chrissy Debra speaking with Professor Kester Kwistafechi of Ghana Communication Technology, ending today's edition of the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM, also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. On myjoyonline.com, Special Prosecutor freezes all assets of Sir John. That and more you can read for yourself. I am Emefa. Apawu, many thanks for your company. Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil up next.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number so that we can put the money in your account.